Hi guys, thank you for getting up this morning and being here. It's Saturday, you could have slept in or something, I think, but wow, this is such an honor. In fact, I couldn't help it when I walked across the room. I was feeling so many different emotions, and since that's been my field, I have to tell you that outside I'm feeling a little jittery, and inside honored, and then sometimes it goes to honored and jittery. So just wanting you to know I'm starting out that way. All right, so I wanted to tell you about, to begin with, one of the biggest challenges I've had as a teacher boiled down to a three-letter word. And that word was how, H-O-W. And the more I think about it, the reason I would say that was my biggest challenge is that every day I'd wake up and I'd be thinking, how am I going to teach this? I know the what. I know, how, that I know that I can go get some books, but it was really about how. How was I going to make it interesting and maybe involving? What was I going to do with the classroom that had no windows in it for a moment and was almost like a hallway? How was I going to turn that into a laser when we were studying lasers? Or how was I going to have a meditation moment or a class when there was no carpet on the floor? So how was a big part of my struggle as a teacher. And I would imagine that how is a big part of your struggle every day in high school, because you're trying to figure out, how do I make it through a day when I've got 3 exams, soccer, I have, by the way, stuff going on in my family, and I've got to go home and write an English paper that's due the next day. Or another how that you're probably dealing with is, how do I ask that girl out that I really wanted to get to know? Or how do I get that kid to stop making jokes about me? And they think it's funny. Everybody else is thinking it's funny, and I don't. Well, I hope in just sharing my house struggle and your house struggle, we had a little bit of empathy happen, a little bit of a connection, a little bit of a moment. And that's really what I want to talk with you today. It's about the power of that thing called empathy, that little moment where we connected, but blown up to something much bigger, a collective empathy. And I really have to go back to my students and tell you that when I was figuring out the how, they showed me that this thing called collective empathy was actually what would make the teaching and the learning exciting and interesting to them, and also something that could transform the schools. So how I'm actually defining this idea of collective empathy today is I'd like you to think about it in 2 parts. The first part is to think about it as what happens when a group of people come together intentionally with that ability in themselves to really listen and connect, and then that group of people puts themselves in each other's shoes and benefits from the mutual support that comes from that. So collective empathy is galvanizing this energy and power of connection and using it together in a group to build support and mutually enhance each other's lives, basically. That's the idea, and that's something that evolved over time with my students. It wasn't something that I came up with myself. And what I'd really like to share with you today is some tools that you can use in your daily life, I hope, that came from the students, from listening to them, and also some inspiration and some insight about this power of collective empathy. Because really what we're drawing from is our own self-knowledge and the knowledge of each other, and we're fusing it together in an empathic response. Daniel Pink writes that the future belongs to empathizers and meaning makers. And Jeremy Rifkin tells us that an empathic civilization would actually solve the problems we need to solve. Global warming, issues of hunger have to begin with our empathic selves. So unless we're tapping that power in schools, we're missing something. And you guys are the ones who know it, have shown it to me, and now I'm going to share with you today. We're going to get inspiration from a tribe in South Africa called the Bembe. In this tribe in South Africa, before a woman is about to give birth, she takes a bunch of her friends and they go out into the wilderness together and they meditate. And what they're waiting for in their meditation is sort of a resonant sound. What they want to hear is the song of the child who's about to come in to the world. After they hear it, they return to the village and they then sing that song to that child at their birth, at really important times in their lives like entering school, graduations, things to do with marriage, and at their death. There's only one other time when this song is sung, and that's actually when that child does something unkind, messes up, does something unjust. At that moment, the community gets together, circles around the person, and I kid you not, for hours, if not for days, they remind and tell the person about every good thing they've ever done in their life. Every strength they had, every beautiful thing they did. They sing the songs, they talk, they intentionally meet together and push their love and their empathy out to this person who's just messed up. At the end of that time, it's not over, they have a ceremony and a party and sing the song again. So how about the Bembe? You mess up, they throw a party for you, and they sing your song. That's another example of the power of collecting empathy and moving it in to remind us that we are in process in our lives. We're not finished. We're always in this how. How do I do? Who am I? What am I? So what I'd like to share with you after we think about the inspiration of that has to do with the inspiration my students gave me in something they've called the open session. And the open session now is something that a lot of high schools across the country are using. And what it basically is kids getting together in a circle, about 20 of them, kids from that you may know, your best friends may be in that group, could be your advisory group, could be something that's happening, it could be a group that happens after school or before school. But the idea is get together in a circle, and basically what they do in this circle, and what we've developed over time, is we check in with each other first. The way we check in is simply by asking ourselves, similar to what I did as I was walking across the stage, we ask ourselves, how am I feeling right now in this moment? What might that inform me about, how I'm going to move through my day? So how am I feeling? And, you can decide how you want to share your feelings in a check-in or not. But the practice of just sitting there for a moment and actually doing it, research has found is a really, really good thing for us, because over time it, again, informs us about how we're going to move through our day or how we're going to move through that next moment in life. So this process of check-in is something that kids who hadn't had it in their high schools decided was a really good thing and have started to do it with each other. So they check in with each other. And then after check-in, basically what happens is we pass out some index cards. And kids get to write down whatever on their mind, a decision, a worry, challenge, a joy, any kind of issue that might be worth bringing to the collective community. And it has to be real for them. And then what we do is look at those issues together, not in a debate, not in a discussion, but more in a wondering, kind of like a lens of wondering. And the clarity that will come out of that is something I'd love to share with you. So let me read some index cards from kids from a school actually that just started to do open session in Washington, D.C. So here's what one person said, and this could be somebody who's sitting in front of you if it were in this room, and that you've seen in the hallway, but you really didn't know they had this issue on their mind. They write, "People keep asking me about college. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I wish they'd stop." Another person, maybe somebody who's in your PE class, who knows, who never talks, and looks like they've got it all together, though. They're really sailing. Here's what they write. "My friends won't stop commenting on Facebook that I like someone. How do I make them stop?" Another issue. "My parents told me they didn't like my grades last year. I really did the best I could. They don't think I'm trying hard in school, and it makes me so stressed about tests. And I'm having trouble falling asleep anyway." Another one. "I'm worried that I won't manage my time well when I study for exams, and that I will end up binge watching Gossip Girl." Another one. "My dad and I never had the best relationship, but since he and my mom split up, it's gotten worse. It sucks. I continually get mixed signals from both of my finger-pointing parents, and I know my dad feels abandoned, but it's just too hard to talk to him. I feel like he loves my brothers more than me right now, and I worry about how this split affected my family." I don't know how to come out to my friends and family. I have a joy today. I just want to say that my sister and I went to the shelter and got a new long-haired Chihuahua, and his name is Figaro, and he's awesome. I'm feeling scared about my friend. We were roommates for 3 weeks over the summer, and we became really close. She told me she cuts herself. Although I think she felt a lot better after telling me, I'm not sure if she needs more help, and I don't know what to do. I think you're getting the idea about the power of collective empathy, because this is what you're coming to school with on your minds. And schools haven't given a chance or a shape or a place for you to address this. And what I'm saying is that open session, sitting in a circle, being in a collective empathy space is all you guys need to first unburden this stuff a little bit with each other and help each other with strategies and ways to deal with these things. Because these are life issues, whether they're yours or mine, there's something about them that we can learn and how we respond. So the response part happens after a card is read. And students sort of popcorn in on that one card for that one moment. They collect together their own empathy and the power of that, and they filter it through 3 different ways. They filter it through of responding. Those 3 different ways of responding are clarification. Make something clearer for me, please. Help out with that. Or just a simple offering of encouragement and support. I hope that gets better for that person. Done. Or something from your, and this is what the students named over time, wisdom. You are wise. You have lots of ideas about how to go about managing issues like this and supporting each other. And so why not give yourselves a chance to speak about them? Let me read to you some of the ones that people have said. To the person with the college stress, I'd like to offer some clarification. Does the person know where they want to go, or are they stressed about the decision and leaving home too? No answering, just out there, like the song of the Bembe, like the comments just put forward, no comment back. To the Facebook issue, I'd like to offer some wisdom. This happened to me, and I thought ignoring it would work, but it didn't. So I sent an email to each person who was doing it, and I told them, knock it off, I'm done. To the person who isn't sleeping well, I'd like to offer wisdom. I've been doing some slow breathing, and I've been reading about relaxation techniques. That and some really good tunes are helping me before bed. I also read about keeping my room dark, and I make myself something warm to drink. I'd like to offer some wisdom and encouragement. It may seem weird, but I think your parents might want to hear how hard that pressure is on you. They were kids once. Try to find a time to sit down with them and talk about it. To the person who gets distracted from studying and binge watches Gossip Girl, I'd like to offer some clarification. I'm wondering where that person is studying, and seriously, you can even ask your brother to help you get your media off so that you can figure out your studying. That's what I've had to do. About the divorce, some more wisdom and support. My parents divorced 3 years ago, and the toughest times were at the beginning. What I'm telling you, I think, is to take care of yourself. And as hard as it is, remember that your dad's love is there and buried in his own stress. To the person who wants to come out, I'd like to offer some clarification. I'm wondering if that person has told anyone, and if so, how did that go? It sounds hard, but I want them to know that I don't care what their sexuality is, and I and lots of friends support you being honest. I'll be your ally. My brother's gay, and what he did that worked was started telling his closest friends first, and then worked up to telling our parents. It wasn't easy, but he's happier now. And so forth. Oh, the one about the dog? I think somebody responded to that as well. I think they said, yay, I'm glad there's a dog out of the shelter today. I think you can hear and see that a simple process like this would really have a way for us to do the how. How do we create empathy? And I think you can also see that it's been something that sometimes teachers in schools will say, I don't know. I don't know if kids can handle that. I don't know. Let me tell you, you can. And once you do this work with each other, you won't pass each other in the hall in the same ways. You will have the kind of school that you're looking for when you write out about what kind of school you're looking for in your codes of conduct. And in yourself, you're going to walk away with all these different ways that you can apply to issues that are going on for you. And so basically, what I'm hoping you see is that you are a transformative force, and you have the ability to create a collective empathy. Thank you.